Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Cole, Professor Emeritus, Agricultural Economics at Virginia Tech, Blacksburg, Virginia. Today's theme is the fork in the road. 10 practices that separate elite agricultural managers. A recent webcast participant posed a common question from producers and lenders. What will be the biggest change in agriculture between 2026 and 2030? The expected response usually centers on technology such as AI applications, regenerative agriculture, or consumer, societal, and global trends that are altering the paradigms of agriculture. However, I countered with an answer that many would not consider. The biggest change may be the management mindset surrounding cash flow management and profitability. Analyze any farm record database and you will find a clear fork in the road between the top 20% and the bottom 20% of producers. Historically, FinBin data shows this difference is especially apparent in businesses generating more than $500,000 in annual revenue. As agriculture producers transition assets and management responsibilities to the next generation, there will be a greater reliance on renting and leasing assets rather than owning them outright. Producers who possess a management mindset focused on planning, executing, and monitoring will be the difference makers regardless of the size of the operation or the stage of the economic cycle. At the core of that mindset is a simple but powerful framework, the REM framework: respond, execute, and monitor. What are 10 practices that, from my experience as an educator, speaker, and business owner, have stood the test of time? Number 1 is the ownership of numbers. Preparing financial statements, such as the balance sheet, cash flow statement, and income statement, goes far beyond obtaining a loan for the bank or satisfying an accountant or an attorney involved in estate planning. Strong ownership and management requires someone within the business to know at any given time the financial status of the operation and to communicate the information effectively. As a veteran of the farm crisis of the 1980s, I observed that this practice proved invaluable during difficult times and became even more beneficial when the economic tide eventually turned. Next, cash flow. The foundation of any business plan is a cash flow projection supported by an operational plan. Key assumptions are made regarding prices, costs, debt service, family living withdrawals, and production, and these assumptions are refined as historical data is analyzed. A trend observed nationwide is that cash flow planning is being drilled down to a monthly or quarterly basis, regardless of enterprise, size, or complexity of the business. Establishing the guardrails. Expect abrupt changes in market and input costs due to trade sanctions, weather events, and military actions. Financial guardrails must be established through financial sensitivity testing and scenario analysis. Recently, a seasoned producer enlisted his daughter, an FFA student, to gain practical experience by testing assumptions using spreadsheets. This created a win-win situation for both generations. For her, it provided hands-on business training and an avenue toward eventually managing and owning the operation. For him, it brought a fresh perspective and a future successor already grounded in the numbers. You got to know your cost of production and break even. Any elite business focused on profitability and cash flow knows its ballpark cost of production. In this case, ballpark means within a 5% tolerance with a goal of narrowing it down to a range of 1 to 3% as more trend data is collected and analyzed. Break-even levels can then be established and used to make pricing and input decisions on an objective rather than emotional basis. These benchmarks also serve as important guardrails in financial sensitivity and scenario analysis. Do not let perfection get in the way of getting started. Remember the principle of moving from simplicity to complexity as your financial management system evolves. Next, enterprise budgets. Multiple revenue streams require enterprise budgets and analysis. This allows managers to focus their capital resources and energy on enterprises that generate the greatest return and profitability. Some enterprises compete for resources, while others are complementary and build upon one another. Therefore, both short-term and long-term implications of enterprise decisions must be carefully evaluated. Next, the marketing plan. A major trend amongst elite managers is the development and execution of a marketing plan. If marketing is not your area of expertise, advisory services that utilize farm and ranch level financial information, as previously discussed, can help you make informed and profitable decisions. Pride and ego are often the two biggest obstacles to overcome in the world of economic volatility. At certain points in the economic cycle, the goal should be to achieve consistent base hits rather than swing for the home runs. The human emotion caused by leaving money on the table, especially when markets move higher after a sale, is difficult to experience, but successful managers learn to focus on disciplined execution rather than perfect timing. Risk management. One factor that has helped prevent a full-scale financial crisis like that of the 1980s is the widespread use of crop and livestock risk management programs. The ability to assume and manage risk is often related to the degree of financial leverage, the level of working capital, and the capacity of the individual and key stakeholders to absorb potential losses. In this area, don't overlook life and disability insurance for key individuals, as well as liability insurance and coverage for livestock, machinery, and structures. Together, these protections form a critical component of a comprehensive risk management strategy. Moving on to family living expenses. What do strong managers do that less than stellar managers often neglect? One common issue among struggling businesses is commingling of business and personal expenses. Some research indicates that as much as 28% of expenses may be commingled, often for tax reasons or for fringe benefit of being a small business owner. Elite managers separate business and personal expenses and explicitly include family living costs when calculating break-even levels and cost of production. Child care, adult care, health care, and insurance expenses are often what I call the budget busters. These costs can create significant financial strain and may lead to either one-time or reoccurring borrowing needs, particularly when financed through term debt. The profit plan. The beef industry, beware. Critical mistakes are often made at the top of an extended economic cycle. Two phrases that should raise red flags during prosperous time. It's different this time, and this is a new normal. Elite managers remain disciplined. They focus on building efficiency before pursuing growth, paying income taxes, and strengthening working capital before fully enjoying the fruits of prosperous economic times. They recognize that today's profits must be used to prepare for tomorrow's challenges, not just capitalizing on today's opportunities. Deliberate education. A comment often heard at sponsored events is, "I wish so-and-so were here so that they could hear this message." Frequently, that individual is focused on what is urgent rather than what's important, or believes they've heard it all before. Successful adults who are committed to personal growth and improving their business culture typically invest 2 to 6 hours per week in deliberate learning to regenerate the mind, body, and spirit of both themselves and their operation. The fork in the road always presents alternatives. Following the practices outlined in this article can help place you on the high road toward profitability, fulfillment, and achievement of both your business and personal aspirations. See you the next time